Good morning, Nashville. 4's Company here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, alongside Connor Newt and Jake Wallman. Nick Frazier here, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Gentlemen, another Saturday here, ready to go.
Another Saturday.
I mean, there are college football games, NFL games. I mean, it's almost like you got everything under the sun today.
Everything under the tree.
Yeah, speaking of the tree, how was your Christmas, bud?
It was good, man. It was really, really relaxing.
You got a little some new extra bling on top of the dome there.
I do. And that I'll get into that later with our question of the day. But yeah, it was a nice Christmas. It was really relaxing.
Good.
How was your Christmas?
It was nice. I saw some family friends.
Fire up the Blackstone.
I did once or twice. I was gonna do a holiday festive pancake of like a Christmas tree, but that was too much effort. So I was like, you know what? A regular circular pancake would just do justice.
You're gonna be a good dad.
Well, thanks.
You know that
one of these days, right?
You're gonna be a good dad.
Well, thanks. You too, man. You too.
We'll
see. For Jake Wallman, how was your Christmas holiday?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
My Christmas was good. I was telling you before the show, it was good to kind of get in here. Worked with you guys on Monday as we filled in for Stillman and Company, and it was good to work Christmas Eve.
It's more me than them, but
yeah,
anyways.
It was Connor. He did
Hats off.
He did. He did a great job.
Thank you.
By the way,
I appreciate it.
Held down the fort.
It was good to get in here Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and just kind of keep things on track, on schedule, with everything being kind of straightforward. And you mentioned the last Saturday of 2024 as well. That's what we get to
indeed
put our stamp on.
There's a lot to get into today. Obviously, we also got the whatchamacallit, Colorado plays this evening at 6:30 against BYU.
The greatest bowl game of all bowl games is today.
Is it really?
The Pop-Tart Bowl.
They changed the trophy for that.
Yeah,
it's like a toaster football.
It's functional. It works.
It's incredible. They keep reinventing the wheel.
It's the greatest. I think there's 3 Pop-Tart mascots today, all fully edible.
Do they all have names?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I hope so.
Tarty McTart, something like that.
Poppy.
There you go.
Something like that, yeah.
It reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where the pizza guy's name was Poppy.
Oh, yeah.
And he never washed his hands when he made the pizzas. And, Jerry, sent him over to the food inspector, and then he got closed down. It was pretty crazy. Funny episode. So
I'm not a huge Seinfeld guy.
Really?
But every once in a while there will be an episode that just
gets you.
Like last week I watched Festivus.
Yes, that's a good one.
Because it was the Festivus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's hysterical. Hysterically funny.
It's either that, The Office, or a few other shows here or there.
Yeah.
But well, Connor, I guess the best way to start this is we got some headlines, right?
Headlines.
Is there some headlines up in this area?
Headlines.
Let's hear it. I'd like to hear it.
Hold on, you go first because I got to pull this thing up.
Perfect. I will start with my World Darts comment of the day.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say. I got more. The Damien Heta, he is a Australian darts thrower. I guess darts player, thrower, however you want to describe him. He had a 9 dart finish, which is 9 perfect darts.
Oh,
so it's 3 180s, 3 180s, and then you have a triple 12, or excuse me, a triple 20, triple 19, and then a double 12, which is on the outer ring of the dartboard. So triple is not the big panel on the number, but it's the smaller number in the panel on the inner ring. And then you have your outer ring, which is your double numbers. So he hit a double 20 or triple 20, triple 19, and then a double 12. And that was the first 9 darter of the world championship. So, and that was yesterday morning, which was kind of crazy.
What a dog.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. But you know what? My guy, Luke, the Nuke Littler, is throwing today.
Luke Littler.
I believe it's at 315, I think. So, every single tournament he gets in, it's either the first round, second round, he's going to throw a 9 darter. And he's been super close the last, I'd say, 3 tournaments. He's missed it by a double 12 every time. So I'm curious to see if he has a different approach where he goes double 12 for the first throw, triple 19, triple 20, and then the rest of the way he can go 180 or so forth, something like that. So I'd be intrigued. But that's my headline of the day, is some world professional darts.
All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is going to rock your world. It rocked my world a few days ago.
Really?
Breaking news. I can't remember. This was from a couple out sources, but a report came out this week. Breaking news. EA Sports and 2K are independently trying to revive a college basketball video game.
Wait a minute. So the conversation that we had the other day,
it's coming.
It's happening.
It's happening.
As we were trying to find the set at Bridgestone Arena, how do we get from club level down to the bottom level? Our conversation of 2K and EA combining forces to make a ultimate game.
It seems like they're both independently trying to make their own game.
Why?
Because competition and money and
so ridiculous. But hey, that's positive though.
It's coming. The game is coming. That's all that I care about.
When you tweeted that out, you tweeted something about this Saturday night, and of course I saw it after the Tennessee game, and that was the one thing that kind of maybe lifted my spirits a little bit.
That came out. Yeah, that came out last Saturday. I think I said that was the best sports news or the most important sports news of the day. Sports result of the day. Most important. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are so back.
Back indeed. Jake Wallman.
Well, boys, I'm going to go a little bit more of a somber route with my headline. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday.
No, I did see
Greg Gumbel passing away. And I honestly didn't even know he was sick until I saw the news that he had died. And that just that's another voice of our childhood that's kind of gone to the press box in the sky.
I don't think I've ever known, other than last year, I don't think I've ever known that pregame show without him.
No.
Which is crazy.
We're talking about March Madness, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just an iconic voice.
And you bring up that pregame show. I saw the clip yesterday of Charles Barkley talking about how he washed his uniform when he was playing in the league. And he said that he washed it in the shower with
and
he had it on.
He showered with his jersey on. I love Charles Barkley. I'm gonna be really sad when he goes, but hopefully that's a long time from now.
Let's not look that far in the future.
We're not looking that far.
But yeah, that's my headline, and just prayers to his family that they find solace.
Indeed. Yeah. Greg Gumbel passed away at the age of 78 with, I believe it was cancer that he was battling with. But he worked for ESPN, CBS, and NBC in his time in the sports field. So prayers and condolences to his family. And I guess moving on with that, I would go from somber back to, I guess, energetic. Connor Newt. It's the last Saturday of the year.
It is
for this show.
It's not our last show of this year, though.
Correct.
Programming note.
Saturday show.
Programming note. We will be on the air 7 to 10:30 New Year's Eve.
How about that?
So if you're out and about, getting some shopping done, doing something, go ahead and listen.
There you go. Well, I do have to ask. But up, nutrition.
I just had some honeycomb this morning.
Just honeycomb.
Nothing crazy.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
Are you a milk in the cereal or you eat it separate?
No, milk and cereal. Okay, but I'm not one of those guys that puts the milk in first. Those people are idiots.
That is psychotic.
Just insane that people do that.
Do you mix your cereals at all or no?
No.
Okay, just straight up honeycomb.
Now my OCD kicks in when I mix cereals. Okay. I don't like to do that. I like to keep them separate.
All right. That's good to know. You got any big New Year's Eve plans?
Well, I'll be on here with you guys.
That's right.
I think I'm doing something after the show. I don't know exactly what, but I'm going somewhere.
There you go.
We'll see.
Fun indeed. Well, I think you, sir, have a question for all of Nashville today.
I do.
What you got for us?
We were talking about kind of Christmas gifts and stuff. What was your favorite thing you got for Christmas?
That's tough. Every year I told us Chase and Big Joe, but my mom and my dad, they always get me a puzzle, and they know how much I despise puzzles. It wasn't a great gift, but it was more of a gag gift. And they got me a 252-piece puzzle. Haven't touched it. Have not touched it.
And probably won't.
And probably won't. I gave them 252 reasons why I won't be touching that.
What is it? What is it?
It's like a Christmas Carol puzzle where it's, stuff like that. But the last 2 years, my dad got me a Office, the TV show, 1,200-piece puzzle, For me, I'm thinking, no, thanks. I don't want to have to touch that.
I'm a big puzzle guy. So,
really?
Yeah.
Well, I may have some gifts for you next Christmas.
I don't like Christmas. I'm a big Lego guy.
Oh, okay.
I used to be. I still am. I can go down for some Legos.
Really?
Yeah. I love it.
Legos. Did you ever build like a little Lego fortress or whatever?
Dude, I still have some hanging up. I've graduated to adult Legos now.
There you
instead
go.
of like the kid stuff. So it's all like, I have what is it? Oh, it's the Daily Bugle from
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I
Yeah.
have that. 2,000 pieces, but
Oh my.
I sound like such a nerd right now.
I
but
just don't have the patience for stuff like that.
Yeah, that would kind of like irk me if I couldn't find the right piece
it relaxes me.
in enough time.
My puzzle type stuff is putting together a bed frame, making
There you go.
a wooden board of some regard.
There you go.
That's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just
My puzzle, I've mentioned the Sporkle app.
Yep.
Those are my puzzles. Like getting
Okay.
on there and doing like a quiz about like who are the top 10
I've gotten back into
QBs with most passing yards or something.
I've gotten
Right.
back into the immaculate grids.
Yes.
Those are awesome.
You ever played MLB Pickle?
Mhm.
That's one of my favorites as
Yeah.
well. I play that on a daily basis.
I absolutely kill the NBA one,
Really?
and I can get the NFL one a lot too. The baseball one is where I struggle. The
Yeah.
hockey one, I have no chance.
Yeah. It's like throwing caution to the wind.
I'm like, if there's Preds on there, I can probably get some. But
yeah.
like, if you asked me to pick a player that played for both the New York Rangers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, I couldn't tell you.
I'm right there with
I
you.
couldn't tell you.
Just give me the Southern hockey. That's
Yeah.
about it. Well, we have a lot to get into today. If you want to, answer Connor's question, what is the best gift you got for Christmas? You can text us or call us at 615-737-1025. At 1025, the game phone and text line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll be back with more on the other side. Going to get into some college football. Obviously, the first round games are over with. It's kind of getting interesting now. We kind of see where a lot of teams are going towards, if it's going to be Ohio State or Oregon, or if it's going to be Notre Dame, Georgia. I mean, a lot of these second round games are going to be fun to watch, Connor, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. I got some takes on that one though.
do you now?
Yeah, we'll get to it on the other side.
Okay. We'll get that on the other side here on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
jamming to this morning.
Little Morgan Wallen.
I love it. I love this song.
Get a little bit of summer action in the winter. There you go. Mix the seasons together. Well, hey, it's college football time, Connor, which means bowl games. The Game Nashville Sports Network is your home for college football bowl games and the college football playoffs presented by Twin Peaks and Parman Tractor and Equipment. It's a triple header on 102.5 The Game today as Boston College versus Nebraska in the Pinstripe Bowl at 11 a.m. right after our show, followed by the Pop-Tarts Bowl, as we mentioned earlier, the Iowa State versus Miami. And closing it all out will be BYU versus Colorado in the Alamo Bowl this afternoon. So with all those games, you can listen right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Those are 3 solid games, too.
Yeah, and you know what? In the Miami game, you're getting Cam Ward, who's playing. The Colorado game, you're getting Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter playing in that game.
Possible Titans picks.
Possibly.
If you want to do some scouting,
hey,
you're not going to find much, but
I did see a mock draft this weekend that said that Shedeur Sanders would fall to the Titans.
I don't take too much stock in the mock drafts because usually they're like kind of fan driven.
Not to get too off topic here, but do you guys download the little app where you can do a mock draft?
I go online and I'll do it sometimes, but it's fun after one, and then I kind of lose it. I'm like, it's especially with this draft that's not fun. There's very few players I can look at and be like, oh, that he's gonna be a dude in the NFL. I mean, just not a lot this year.
Yeah. I mean, you just won't know until they're actually in the league. That's the crazy thing about it. So, I mean, there's probably 1 or 2 guys I got my eye on, but that's about it. But I will say right now, what I have my eye on is college football playoff.
Oh, yeah.
Those games that are coming up, I believe, Tuesday, December 31st, and along with New Year's Day as well. So, I mean, the first matchup you're going to go up against, I believe, is what we talked about during the break was Oregon, Ohio State.
Yes.
Connor.
Ducks.
You have the Ducks hat on.
I do.
Please elaborate.
On the hat?
Well, the hat and also the game. I mean, yeah.
I'll elaborate on the hat.
I just feel like you got so much to say. So please.
This is going to be the game of the playoffs.
Okay.
Really? I think so.
I'm going to have to disagree there, but continue.
What do you think? Notre Dame, Georgia?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this is the 2 best teams in the nation going at it. The way Ohio State played against Tennessee, they look like they could win it all. Oregon has looked like they could win it all season. And Oregon is playing with a chip on their shoulder because they're one of the few teams in this that have never won a national championship. And I want to see them do it. I love Dan Lanning. I think he's a phenomenal coach. I think he's a great motivator. Dylan Gabriel is giving Oregon the quarterback edge they kind of need after losing Bo Nix. And before that, you had Justin Herbert. And then obviously before that, you had Marcus Mariota. But it's just kind of a succession train of quarterbacks for Oregon. They've had, for the last 10 years or so, they've had a good quarterback. And that goes to show you what you could do with a good quarterback in college football, especially if you put him with 2 good receivers like he has in Evan Stewart, who transferred out of A&M, and Tez Johnson, who's been at Oregon. But this Oregon team just feels different to me. This feels like a team that could do it. I feel like this game right here, Oregon and Ohio State, decides who goes to the national championship.
I'd have to agree with you on that. I think Oregon, you mentioned there's something different about them. And I think it's just, you can finally say they're a complete team.
Mm-hmm.
They actually play some defense.
Jordan James in the backfield.
Yeah.
Local boy.
Local kid, obviously. It's just this defense, everybody always thinks West Coast, you're just going to put up a lot of points and just allow a lot of points. No, this team actually can play some defense for once. I mean, they went up against Ohio State earlier in the year. Sure, it was 32-31, but this team, I think, can go up against the best of the best. I think they are the best. They're obviously the only undefeated team in college football, but I'm with you. I think this team, there's something different about them. I think Dan Lanning, especially as a coach, he does a good job when it comes to motivating his players. It's just a game that I have on my eye, on my schedule here, but at the same time, I have to look at the Notre Dame Georgia game.
Yeah,
that's where I just disagree with you on what game is better in this second round matchup. Every single time I think Notre Dame's not going to win, they proved me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just blows my mind to think I thought Indiana was going to give them a game. Absolutely not.
Right.
I mean, now that Carson Beck is done for the year with that UCL surgery and injury, you have their backup quarterback in. And that, to me, I think it's doable for Georgia. I think if Kirby Smart goes into that game and just plays his system-style football and just runs the ball, manages the clock, I think they could go out there and win at a small margin. I'm not saying they're going to blow them out, but it could be a game where Notre Dame is just frustrated. Like they were frustrated because they don't have the football.
I'm going to counter you.
Okay.
I think the odds are in Notre Dame's favor.
Really?
I think I've said this before. This game is won in the trenches
with
a backup quarterback over on Georgia's side. And then you have Notre Dame starting quarterback Riley Leonard, who is more of a running quarterback than a passing quarterback, can throw a deep ball every once in a while, but relies heavily on his legs. I think this is one in the trenches. And I think if you look at the running backs on each side, Notre Dame has the edge. Jeremiah Love, he's being talked about as a Heisman candidate for next year. Trevor Etienne.
Trevor, yep.
Yeah, I almost said Travis, his brother. Trevor Etienne is a dynamic running back in this country too. But I have to give the edge to Jeremiah Love. I think Notre Dame is coming in with more of an edge too, coming off of a big win against Indiana. Georgia's been sitting on their butt for a week watching. And that's not saying that they're not working. I'm sure Kirby Smart, knowing the coach he is, has them in that practice facility going hard every single day. But I just have a feeling about Marcus Freeman and the Irish. I feel like there may be a little bit of luck on their side.
I like what you did there.
Yeah.
I don't know. This Georgia team, you mentioned it. They've been sitting on their butt for the last couple weeks. I'm sure, like you're saying, Kirby Smart is getting them prepped up, but there's something about them as well because with sitting out for this long, you're able to get all your guys healthy again, minus Carson Beck. You're able to get all your running backs healthy because I believe Trevor Etienne was dealing with a rib injury. And so now you don't have to have a two-back system. I mean, you can now in a roundabout way. You can keep both backs kind of fresh for the most part because they had, I believe, Nate Frazier's his name. Good last name, by the way.
Relative?
No, not a relative, but, running back family.
Yeah.
Running back family.
Yeah.
You're running two running backs back there, and you're splitting reps. I think it works in the college system. Obviously, we're seeing it here in Nashville with Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard. Hadn't really worked well when splitting reps. But, to this game in general, I think you're going to have a healthy Trevor Etienne. And I think he's going to be more versatile in the backfield, not only just running the ball, but catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that might be exposed in this Notre Dame defense is anything that's floated out of the backfield when it comes to throwing the ball. So that's something you got to keep your eye on as well. And obviously the backup quarterback situation for Georgia, people are not as confident as people think they should be with them. But I don't know, this Gunnar Stockton kid might be somebody to look out for. I think to me, he's the next Stetson Bennett for Georgia.
Yeah. The thing about this game for me is it's literally best on best.
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame has the better offense, but Georgia's, as we've seen, has the better defense. So we can see those two literally go head to head and see who comes out on top. That's what I'm excited about for this one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and the other matchup we have is Penn State versus Boise State.
Yeah.
Come on. You think they could actually upset them though? Maybe.
If anyone's going to blow it, it's James Franklin. I feel like James Franklin is liable to let Ashton Genty run for 200. But I don't know. I just can't see it. I feel like if Boise State and Arizona State lose after getting the bye, which I think is more likely to happen than not, it's an embarrassment to this committee. I think they should be embarrassed for giving those two teams the bye. I think they should be embarrassed for this format, this auto bid format. And I think that does away with the auto bids for the next iteration of the college football playoff. Maybe not next year, but the year after when we go to 14, I think we do away with that. I think we start going with kind of almost a basketball-like format where we just reseed teams, just go 1 through 14. And I think that's how it should be. But I don't know. I can't buy into Arizona State and Boise State as two of the top 4 teams in the nation because I haven't seen that level of productivity from them based on their schedule and based on their level of play. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. But
I mean, I agree to the point of reseeding, but embarrassment, I'm intrigued by that. I really am intrigued by that. We'll get into more of that on the other side. How about it? We'll get into more of that. Yeah, you're listening here to 4's Company right here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Bring the energy. I love it. Back here on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, alongside Connor Newton, Jake Wallman.
My mom is dancing somewhere.
There she probably is.
She a big Usher fan?
She loves this song. I don't know why.
I mean, get you hype. I'm all about it.
Overplayed.
And you know what else gets you hype? Nashville's Best Deals.
Oh,
all right?
yeah.
This week's Nashville's Best Deal is from Academy in Goodlettsville. More than just training space here. Every class is a journey in the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu taught by their dedicated instructors. They have state-of-the-art facilities that offer everything from muscle recovery services to top-tier training equipment. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals to get a $150 month of unlimited classes for just $75. It's a pretty solid deal. I might actually look into that. But hey, before the break, we were talking about the college football playoff, talking about teams like Arizona State, Boise State. If they end up losing into these teams they're playing into the second round by a heavy margin, big margin, it's a embarrassment to the college football playoff committee.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to disagree on that.
Really?
Now, I did say I do agree to the point of treating it like college basketball. Once you get into the playoff, the tournament of whatever regard, yes, reseed to the right purpose, okay? But as for this year, I don't know. I would say no. I would say if they were to lose by, let's use Boise State for an example. Say if they lose to Penn State by 2 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So, I mean, that's what, 17 points? I wouldn't say that'd be an embarrassment. I really wouldn't. Now, if it's Arizona State and they lose by 3 to 4 touchdowns, yeah, that's an embarrassment. But I'm still on the fence about Boise State. I think the team is built a little bit differently than Arizona State. Obviously, you have that Cam Scatabo kid that's really good at running back for Arizona State. But I'm going to have to disagree on it being a disgrace to the committee. Now, I will say the committee itself is a disgrace.
Yeah.
They're an embarrassment just by themselves for what they've decided to put up with this playoff. Because I was telling you in the break, I don't understand how you can put an 11 seed SMU over a 12 seed Clemson.
That doesn't make sense.
And like, you get it. Like, obviously I'm SMU kind of guy because of the football game that we all played in the past, but it just doesn't make sense to me that you're going to put a runner up in the ACC championship game higher seed than the Clemson ACC champion. I get it.
There's the head-to-head victory.
Yeah, they have the head-to-head victory, and there's a one-loss difference. I understand that. But the committee should not be doing that. Like, if it's going off of top schedule or their win-loss rating, like, that's not right. Then you got to put SMU at 12 rather than putting Clemson at 12. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
That's why I agreed to your point about reseeding once you get into the playoff. But as for a team like Boise State that would lose by 2 touchdowns and a field goal, I wouldn't say that's an embarrassment to the playoff. Maybe to the committee. I don't think so. But it's just on the committee's fault in general to start out with to seed all these teams the way they did.
Yeah. No, I agree with that take. I mean, I'm just looking at the spread right now. Penn State versus Boise State has Penn State favored by 11. Texas versus Arizona State has Texas favored by 13.5. I'm embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
This is the quarterfinals. The quarterfinal. You win this game, you are in the semifinals of the college football playoff on your way to compete for a national title. And you mean to tell me that in a quarterfinal matchup, we have an 11-point spread and a 13.5-point spread? That's ridiculous. I mean, I think you're right. The committee should be more embarrassed than the teams that are in there. They are just there to play. They can't control the seeding. But the fact that we have Boise State seeded number 3 as a G5 school is ridiculous. I think that's embarrassing to the committee. Now, I think if they go out and they just crap their pants against Penn State, lose by 25, 24, then that's embarrassing on them. Because they were given this opportunity to go out there, have a bye week, and play in the Sugar Bowl or wherever they're playing, and then you go out there and you lose by 3 touchdowns, that's embarrassing. That's what I mean when I say it's embarrassing for the committee, because they were given this opportunity and put on this pedestal to go out there and give us a game and give the fans something to watch, and then they go out and just crap themselves.
Yeah, and also you mentioned a great point about the matchups, because if you look at the TV ratings, they're not as big as people think they are.
Yeah.
And to that point too, because the first round games, I just look at Notre Dame and all this because they're not in a conference when it comes to the playoff. I believe if the College Football Playoff Committee got rid of the auto bids for your conference champions, that they wouldn't get those 1 through 4 seeds. I'm in wholehearted belief that Notre Dame should have been a 3 seed.
Yeah.
Easily. Obviously, that's off BCS ranking, whatever, but
Yeah.
I still think they should be a 3 seed because I look at this year's playoff as a trial run for the committee next year. Obviously, some of these people on the committee now won't be on there next year, but at the same time, I look at this year's playoff as a trial run because now that Notre Dame, and it's crazy to think this way, but I think it's logical that Notre Dame had to prove themselves this year in the college football playoff for them to rewrite the rules eventually in the near future for Notre Dame to have a first round bye.
Yeah.
Does that sound logical to you?
I mean, I'm kind of in favor of how it's set up now as far as Notre Dame because you don't punish a team for being in a conference.
That's fair.
Notre Dame is capped at 5 in the current playoff format because they're not in a conference. Obviously, the top 4 are reserved for
Conference
champions.
Right.
Notre Dame is not a conference champion because they're not in a conference.
That's fair. That's fair. But that's what I'm saying. I think they should get rid of those, in my opinion. Get rid of those auto bids for conference champions.
Yeah.
I think you have to really look more into the meat and potatoes of the resume of the team because Notre Dame's proven to me that they're a top 3 team. They've proven to me already that they're a top 3 team in this playoff.
I think there's more to be desired for me.
Really?
I was never in on Indiana.
Okay.
Watching that team all year. That strength of schedule is not there, and I get it. You can't control your schedule, especially in conference play. But if they beat Georgia, yes, I agree. They are national title contenders. Right now, I think they can beat Georgia. I just argued against you that they can beat Georgia. But I don't know. I think Oregon has more of an edge over Notre Dame. I think Ohio State has more of an edge. I think Texas has more of an edge. I think Texas is a better team than Georgia. Now, the resume or the results don't lie. Texas just hasn't had Georgia's number.
Yeah.
Georgia has had Texas's. But I think if you were to put Texas up against Notre Dame, they would throttle them. I don't know why. That's just a gut feeling.
Yeah,
but
that's a good gut feeling to have.
I feel like that's the kind of game that your quarterback would win you. Texas has the quarterback in Quinn Ewers. Georgia doesn't have the quarterback in the Gunnar Henderson kid who everyone's so high on. I don't see it. He hasn't shown me anything phenomenal. I mean, he threw for 60 yards and an interception in his one game he played. So we'll see. I don't know. My gut just tells me Notre Dame on this.
Yeah, for me, Notre Dame, and I'm already looking more into the future than anything, like I've already said, but Notre Dame, to me, this is a trial run for them to see if they can be a top 3 team. And if the committee actually does get rid of those auto bids, I think this is it's definitely a tryout for them. I really do. I think this committee, obviously you mentioned it could be an embarrassment for not only the committee, but for the teams that possibly lose to a Penn State or a Texas in some regard, because if Boise State ends up losing by 17, I could see where it could be a little bit of an embarrassment to the committee, but at the same time, you can't be saying the team's an embarrassment to the playoff because they deserve it. So I think it's definitely a trial run for Notre Dame when it comes to going up against teams like Georgia, because if they end up losing to Georgia by 1 or 2 possessions, and 2 possessions meaning 10 points, to me, that's enough to prove that they deserve. That's enough that they prove to me that they deserve to be a top 3, top 4 team in next year's playoff. If they decide to, bring out the big guns and win 11 games.
Yeah.
So
no, I can see that.
That's where I'm at. It frustrates me because you've got me riled up about this committee. And I believe this committee, yes, is flawed, but at the same time should not be looking at these smaller schools like Boise State and Arizona State as embarrassments to the playoff, because I don't think they are embarrassments. I think they were rightfully deserved their spots in the playoff. That is not the seeding spot in the playoff.
I'm not arguing they shouldn't be in the playoff.
Right.
I'm just arguing
if they lose by a big margin.
If you are a top 4 seed and you go out there and you lose by 28, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Connor, I got a question for you.
I may have an answer for you.
With the way you're talking about Notre Dame, do you look at Notre Dame the same way we look at Penn State? Where they've gotten to the big stage, but they can't win on the big stage?
That's a good question. I think I look at Notre Dame more favorably than Penn State because I think they have more of the tools to win. I think they have the electric playmakers on offense. I think they have the solid defense that can win them games. And I think they have the coach. I think Marcus Freeman is a better coach than James Franklin. I do. I don't know. I have a gut feeling about Notre Dame beating Georgia.
I mean, if they do pull, if Notre Dame does win, I can get on the same path as you about Marcus Freeman being better than James Franklin.
I think he's proven. I mean, if you look at the games, Marcus Freeman has won more big games than James Franklin. We say this all the time.
And plus, considering the way he kind of started.
Yeah, kind of thrown into that role with Brian Kelly leaving for LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Cool story for him, actually. But we say this all the time. James Franklin's first big win, or I messed it up. James Franklin's next big win will be his first. I wouldn't classify beating SMU by how much did he beat him? 35-10 or something like that.
Big margin.
Wouldn't classify that as a big win. It's a win in the college football playoff, but I wouldn't classify that as a big win in a game you're already heavily favored in. I don't know. That's just I got some weird gut feelings about this playoff. I just feel like I could be totally wrong, but I feel like Notre Dame is going to go out there and squeak one out against Georgia. I just do.
Okay. Connor Newt said it first. You heard it here. This man thinks Notre Dame's winning, beating Georgia. I love it.
I could be totally wrong.
I mean, I'm the other way, but I respect it. I really do.
I could be totally wrong. Totally wrong.
Hey, but you know you're not wrong about Newt's notes. You're never wrong about that.
Never.
Because those takes are always on point. We'll get to that on the other side of here at 4's Company, 1025, 1063 The Game.
my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Hear the music, folks. It's time for Newt's Notes. Connor Newt, these intros get me almost every time.
Every time?
Every time. As Michael Scott says, 99% of the time, or 1% of the time, it's every time. But whatever that is. But hey, Connor, it's time, buddy.
It is time.
Talk to us, please.
Let me talk to you. Okay. So Christmas Day was a little different this year from a sports perspective. Obviously, you have your NBA that not a lot of people care about, and I'll get into that. But you had NFL on Netflix this year. So here are the rating numbers for that. The NFL, Chiefs and Steelers brought in 24.1 million viewers. Ravens and Texans brought in 24.3 million. About what I expect. Big numbers for the NFL because football is a constant product in this country. NBA, Knicks and Spurs, 4.9 million. Celtics 76ers, 5.1 million. Timberwolves and Mavericks, 4.3. Lakers and Warriors, 7.7. Nuggets and Suns, 3.8. Not remotely close. And I think some of that is football is, like I said, constant product in this country. Everyone loves them some NFL football. But do you not feel like the NBA is just a dying product?
Yeah, it reminds me of baseball in the early, I'd say, after the steroid era when they started cracking down on stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of what the product is. It's just kind of in the back room of everything. It's not on the front page of it all.
It feels like the NBA is just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. You have your NBA Cup, who, if you asked me who won that, I probably couldn't tell you. I think it was the Bucks. But
Yeah.
I did not watch 1 second of the NBA Cup because I don't care. The game in general right now is so lazy, so boring that I can't even stand to watch it. The NBA is just 5 guys spaced out on the floor playing iso ball, jacking up threes. I think there was one game this year where the Celtics took 63 threes in one game. That's terrible.
63?
Yeah. And hit maybe 20 of them.
I mean, if I wanted to go watch basketball, I'd pay less money to go watch the Globetrotters. I mean, maybe the Globetrotters are actually more expensive. I
It's
don't
probably
know.
less of a clown show, too.
Yeah, they actually are pretty skillful. I'm not saying NBA players are not
I think they're
skillful,
coming to
but-
Bridgestone, too.
Really?
Yeah. I'd go to that.
I would too.
I think that would be fun. But I think I'm biased maybe a little bit because, as you all know, I'm a Kentucky fan. College basketball is my thing. I live and breathe that sport. But the college game is just so much more exciting because they're playing for something. They care. You lose a game in college, I mean, that hurts. That hurts your resume. That hurts you going into March. The NBA, you play an 82-game season. It doesn't matter till the very end. And even in the playoffs, you've got guys that'll get hurt because they're not playing as much. They're doing their load management thing where they're sitting them out, or I don't know. As a fan of basketball, this irks me because I used to be a diehard NBA guy. I used to love watching the Memphis Grizzlies back when they had Michael Conley and Mark Gasol, Zach Randolph, and guys like that, the grit and grind era. That was a fun time. And even I've told you this before, Derrick Rose was my hero growing up. I loved the Chicago Bulls and that team with Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, Joakim Noah, that whole team. That was a different game back then. That was when players somewhat cared. And if you even go back to the 90s where it was, I mean, obviously we didn't have this, but Michael Jordan and, Hakeem Olajuwon, guys like that, Magic Johnson, late Magic Johnson, Ray Allen, guys like that. Every game was must-see TV because they cared. And they had the same amount of games. They cared. No one took that sport more seriously than Michael Jordan. The guys today don't care. You got guys like Joel Embiid who will go out and trip during warm-ups and then he's out for a month. It's just the NBA ratings are the lowest they've ever been. And there's a reason for that. Because there's no national interest in watching a bunch of lazy bums shoot a ball around. I think the only people that care about the NBA now are the people where the market is geared towards that, like your New York Knicks or
Your big market
Yeah,
cities.
your
Yeah.
Lakers, your Chicago Bulls, and they're terrible, so I don't think
And
they even care.
Those big cities are probably the ones taking in majority of the TV viewership, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's carrying all those smaller markets' weight in a roundabout way.
If you look at it, a lot of those NBA cities, they have NFL teams that are terrible, like New York. The New York Knicks are probably all that's relevant right now in New York because the New York Rangers are terrible. The Islanders are terrible. The
Jets are bad.
Jets and Giants are awful. New York Knicks are all you got. So they're probably pulling in viewers. Look at LA. Rams suck. Chargers.
Rams are all right.
Rams are all right. Chargers don't really have a fan base of much. So the Lakers are about all you got. Baseball's out. So Dodgers is not in season
right now. Yeah.
Shout out Dalton Connect.
Yeah. Shout out Dalton Connect. Sure.
Who is that again?
I think you know who that is.
Is that like another Tennessee nobody again? Yeah.
Nobody.
I mean, if you consider the SEC Player of the Year,
I'm joking.
I enjoy getting ribbed from you, Frazier.
It's fun, isn't it?
He does it more than I do.
He does do it more than you do.
He's worse than I
We
am.
talked about this last week after the show about how you're just so consistent with it.
I mean, I do it when I feel I need to because I know you can take it, but he does it just out of pocket, and it's getting bad.
I know it's fine. It's like going to the grocery store. I got to make sure I check everything off my list.
Like you're gonna be on his list or something. I don't know.
No,
You just made the list.
I hope I'm not.
It's
on
gonna
his
be like
list.
to quote Edge.
that was Chris Jericho, but
yeah.
Okay.
Jericho,
Close
Yeah.
enough.
Well,
They were tag team at the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were close enough. It's gonna be like what was that scene in Billy Madison where Billy calls up all the kids?
He puts the
bullied and-
lipstick on it. Yeah.
he puts he's like, oh, thank you, and crosses him off the hit list.
Yeah.
glad I called that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely out of love. No, the
Oh,
reason
it
why
is. Yeah, I love it.
I just love that you're our in-house Vols fan because I have some relatives that are big Vols fans that kind of get on my nerve a little bit. So I'm just like, all right, well, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, he signed up for this.
he did.
He came into it as a Vols fan, knowing the three of us hate him. So
I love Jake Wallman, but as Vols Jake Wallman, I'm on the fence.
I
about
try to keep it even keel. You know, I try to have.
there's a gray margin between the two.
I try to have one foot in the real world, and not wear the orange colored glasses so much. But I do also try to not be shy about my fandom.
You
Oh.
should put one foot on the other side of the door and maybe like two toes as well. That might be a better route. The Vols right now, they need a little Jesus.
Hey, I mean, we're still coping.
Cope with Pope.
Yeah, you can watch some Kentucky basketball and
good.
hope that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I would rather watch the number one team in the country.
All right. I have thoughts about that too, but we're gonna get another time. Connor, please continue.
Well, no, that's about all I got. I mean, the NBA falling off. I'm ready to say it's a dying product.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where it reminds me, like I said earlier, about baseball. I think baseball has surpassed the NBA in my opinion because there's more. When you go watch MLB baseball, you want to watch Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman.
It's
and-
weird. It's a 162 game season, but doesn't it feel like most games mean a lot more?
Yeah, they do.
Because they're out there. I mean, you got divisional series where you're playing your rivals for a 4-game series. Cardinals and Cubs. Every game means something because those teams want to go out there and beat each other. Even if it's just that, go beat that team. It means something to the MLB. And that's why baseball is fun again. Baseball is fun again because like you said, you have guys like Shohei Ohtani. You got guys like Mookie Betts, honestly, all on the same team. But
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Judge makes baseball fun.
Like the Yankees are a solid team during the year.
Yeah. And then they get to the playoffs and Aaron Judge bats 180. But
Every New York team in the playoffs. Yeah. Sounds about right.
But I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to revive the NBA. Maybe start playing defense. Maybe the officials should start cracking down on fouls because they never call those. The NBA is allowed to take 8 steps before they get a travel called. I don't know.
I'm confused. Like, you know more about the basketball just product in general. But the thing with Jason Tatum, like last year after he won the NBA Finals, he tried to like replicate Kevin Garnett's
Yeah.
like post-game speech or whatever it was. Like Like, to me, that's not great. Like, you don't want to be disingenuous. You want
Because
to
there's
be
no,
genuine.
it's not original anymore.
Yeah.
There's nothing original about the NBA. It's just repurposed garbage.
And the 131 to 135 wins and loss, all that stuff, that's got to stop too. Like
Yeah.
you're saying, the defense, there has to be some
It's
defense
terrible.
play. It's bad.
It's terrible.
So
There's
I don't know. I feel like the NBA is still riding coattails of LeBron James a little bit too.
Yeah. But
So,
what happens when he's gone? What's your draw?
nothing.
Stephen Curry. But
Nothing.
he doesn't have much left in him. When LeBron and Curry are gone, what's your draw? Because I don't think a lot of people are tuning in to watch Ja Morant on national television.
Or Luka Doncic.
Or Anthony Edwards.
And
As phenomenal athletes as those people are, they don't have the aura, as the kids say, of LeBron James or Michael Jordan or Stephen Curry.
Look at Nikola Jokic. He averages a triple-double a game. It's almost like, obviously, you take it for granted at this point, but at the same time, like,
Who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, who
Yeah.
cares? You're right.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that's my rant about the NBA. We went way over.
well,
But-
it was a beautiful rant,
Well, thank
honestly, because you're right. It had to be addressed, and I'm glad
Yeah.
you addressed it.
well, thank you.
We'll get into more on the other side at the top of hour number 2.
Oh, yeah.
We'll reset our question of the day. Connor, what was that again?
It was the question of the day. You can text or call us 615-737-1025. What was your favorite thing you got for Christmas? I got my answer. I have my answer on my head right now, but we'll get into the story behind that one when we return.
Okay. Hey, you're listening to 4's Company right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hour number 2, 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, join Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Derek Mason at Twin Peaks in Madison this Sunday for the pregame show from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. They will break down the Titans' Week 16 matchup against the Jaguars and give you the latest updates before the game. The pregame show is presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment, Sundeck Nashville, Sloan's Motorcycle ATV, and the award-winning Blue Note Juke Joint and Blue Note Crossroads Bourbon. Welcome back. Connor Newt taking over the helm, joined by Nick Frazier and Jake Wallman behind the glass. Let's get into our question of the day. Christmas is over. The holiday is in the liturgical calendar of the Catholics. It is just now beginning, the Christmas season. Very exciting time, the birth of the Savior. But as far as December 25th, the holiday, we all get gifts, most of us. What was the best thing you received for Christmas? Nick Frazier, go ahead.
Yeah, I mentioned this to you in one of the breaks. I forgot about it for some reason, but got a small pizza oven, and it's incredible. I never thought I
wood burning.
Yeah, so it has like the pellets, like the wood pellets, and so you just get some something a little light the back side of it, and then you close the hatch and you just let the fire kind of, grow in the back of the little oven, and then it has its own little. You open the front of it, the fire kind of goes over the whole entire oven. You wait for it to chill a little bit, cool down, and then you put your pizza in, and it cooks like within 25, 40 seconds. I see. I'm the old school way of you just put it in the oven, you wait about an hour and a half. Like I grew up making Sicilian style pizzas that are rectangular. And so that's the only way I knew how to make pizza. Whereas for this one, you kind of have to give it in a circular kind of form of a traditional New York style or Neapolitan. But every time I put a pizza in this little thing, it's Neapolitan style pizza.
Oh,
so
see, I'm used to the Red Baron, throw it in the oven for 20 minutes. And
I mean, you can put that in this as well.
Yeah.
It's just, it'll cook differently.
I want real pizza. Yeah. I want, handcrafted dough, sauce, cheese, some pepperoni, throw it in the oven.
Yep.
I want the real stuff.
Well, you can
I'm coming over to the Frazier household now.
Yeah. That's, probably when I was, I don't know, middle of high school. So probably like junior year, sophomore year in between that, I started making the pizzas around the family because we had a passing in our family. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm the guy to large and in charge to make the pizzas. So every time my grandmother wanted pizza, I'd be the one to roll the dough, and she'd make the sauce. And then we get some cheese from another market and just bring it in and shred it up, put it on, call it a day. So yeah, that's the gist of it all. So I might have pizza today, actually.
Oh yeah,
but that's what I got. Pizza.
Exciting.
Yeah,
exciting stuff for Chef Frazier.
Yes.
Jake Wallman, what's Santa bring you?
I don't like to say favorite, just in case any family members are listening, and you don't want to.
That's a good point.
You don't want to hurt people's feelings.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But my wife and I did get a really cool gift this year. Her stepdad bought us a creamy. A Ninja Creamy.
Yes.
Excuse me?
Dude, they're great.
Is this the thing Jared texted you about?
Yes.
Damn you, Nick Frazier.
Yeah. Yep.
So Jared's got one as well.
Oh, yeah. This was a while back ago. Yeah.
But yeah, so we got it out last night, and it comes with, all different kinds of containers, and, you got the Ninja Creamy where it's got different settings. You got like ice cream, light ice cream, which I don't really know what that is. It's,
it's ice cream, but like light.
Like the calories are taken out so they don't count.
I don't think that's how that works.
The light ice cream function is if you don't have any like Oreo bits in there or whatever, that's what that means.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're just looking to make like homemade vanilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also if you don't like have heavy whipping cream and stuff
Gotcha.
like that in there along with it.
And then you can also make, and I'm really excited to try these out, milkshake. I know Italian ice is a setting.
Oh yeah.
Love some Italian ice. And I think like yogurt or frozen yogurt is a setting as well. So I'm looking at, I think we're going to go home and try it.
There's a gelato setting
yes,
as well. Yep.
Yes, I do remember seeing that on there. So that's probably the coolest gift we received this year.
Nice.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Machine.
Let me just give you a recommendation. Get a bunch of fruit, put it in, let it freeze.
Okay.
But also put a little bit of splash of lemonade in there.
Ooh.
And let that thing freeze and put it in the Ninja Creamy.
In the fruit?
Yeah.
The lemonade in the fruit? Okay.
Yep. And you just put it in the freezer for about 6 to 12 hours.
That sounds like a really good
take
slushy.
it out. Yeah, it's not a slushy. It's like a sorbet.
Mm.
Like it's one of those type of things. So
Okay, I'll have to take that recommendation to my wife.
it helped me lose a lot of weight. So
Sweet.
recommended.
Are you calling him fat?
No,
Right here on the air.
no, it just helped me with my
The
weight.
disrespect. I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
No, I have a big sweet tooth, and so going with the natural sugars and stuff like that.
That
was-
sounds. I'm looking for that. I kind of want to go home and try that now. Like
My recipe is blackberries, blueberries, raspberries.
I'm gonna put some bananas in there.
strawberry. Bananas, all right. Strawberry. I stick with mainly the berries, and then just splash a little bit of lemonade.
Okay.
So
Do you use like the sugar-free, no-calorie lemonade, or just
yeah,
regular?
because all the natural sugars are in the fruit. So
That makes
it
sense.
balances out. You just need a liquid substance. To
How
kinda
much
go along with it.
lemonade?
I'd say a splash, meaning just. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I'm gonna
my
make that.
noise for
This is a
something.
riveting conversation we got going on right now. Jake Wallman gets the cream machine. For Christmas.
Well, it wasn't really addressed to me. It had my wife's name on it, but they said that we would both get enjoyment out of the gift.
Out of the
So
cream machine. You both enjoy the cream machine.
Wow, there's college football on.
yeah,
all
there
right.
is.
What'd you get, Connor Newt?
Well, if you're watching the stream right now, I have on a Oregon Ducks hat, and you're probably wondering what the hell is a Kentucky Wildcat doing with an Oregon Ducks hat on. So you guys all know I love college football 25. Love it. Love the dynasty. That's my favorite. And Coach Newt, his most iconic role, we all know. You probably don't, but our listeners probably know. Coach Newt's most iconic role was the head coach of the Oregon Ducks. I won numerous national titles, ran the Pac-12, which is now back for years and years and years. So my brother, we do a tradition. My family and I, our siblings, do gifts Christmas Eve. So, I mean, there's 3 of us. So it's a gift from me to my sister, me to my brother, and vice versa. Everyone gets 2 gifts, basically. So my brother hands me his present and says, "This is for Coach Newt." I was like, "Wait, what?" So I open it, and it's this hat, which has Puddles the Duck, the best mascot in all of sports. And then I talked to you last week about the mini speed flexes. I have the Oregon one now. So I mean that I value the creativity from that one. I thought that was good. I wasn't ready for it. I was like, wow, this is really, really thoughtful. Like, you put a lot of thought into this. It's better than the gift card I got you or something. I don't think I got it. No, I got him his first Jordans. But yeah, I love this hat.
That's sweet.
It's comfortable. It's the 47 brand, which is, I think they make their hats out of recycled water bottles. So we save the environment in the process.
Save a lot of ducks.
Yeah. Save the ducks. There
See?
you go.
Saving the ducks.
Save the ducks. So, I mean, if it's not obvious, we know who I'm cheering for in the college football playoff this year. Coach
Yeah.
Newt's Ducks.
You know what? Next week we'll probably have to go back and look at our preseason predictions because I'm pretty sure we were pretty spot on with all that.
I think both the Jakes and I both picked Oregon to win a national title. I'm pretty sure you picked Travis Hunter to win a Heisman.
I think I did. Either that or Ashton Genty, one of the two.
He won the Lenny.
Yeah, he did win the Lenny.
Way to go, Ashton. You
Good
won
stuff,
the Lenny.
bud. Yeah.
You won the Lenny.
Maybe I did take Travis. I have to go back and listen. I know for a fact. I think I said Georgia, Texas in the national championship.
I
game,
said Dylan Gabriel, and he was a finalist, so I wasn't far off. But
No.
I think you said Travis Hunter. I think Lyman said Luther Burden. So, whoops.
Hey, Kyler Murray, by the way. Hey,
Kyler Murray.
let's go back and look at some of those NFL picks, by
Yeah.
the way. How about that?
I'm gonna take Kenneth Walker. That was Nick Keiser. But hey,
Sorry, off topic there, Stadium Pulse.
sorry, you got me rattled there. Our text line is being a little funky, but if you want to text us or call us, you can always hit us in the Twitter mentions. You can hit us on the stream. You can call us at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We will take those the rest of the show, as we always do. But coming up next, Vanderbilt defies the odds despite multiple obstacles thrown their way last night. Vanderbilt wins the Birmingham Bowl over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 35-27. We break that down next. And what is next for the Vanderbilt Commodores? That's up next. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. this, I think, of Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever. I think it was the second one. Great song. Hey, tune in to 102.5, 106.3 The Game for the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl tomorrow, December 30th. Chase and Big Joe will have pregame coverage starting at noon, and kickoff is set for 1:30 p.m. Music City coverage presented by Hi-Fi Buys. Nice, Nick Frazier.
I guess that was the stream. I have it open as well.
That's cool.
Trying to check out stuff.
No, it's like a reverb.
It had a good little bass to it.
Yeah, it's a good song. I can't remember who sings that. Anyways, the Commodores of Vanderbilt win the Birmingham Bowl and finish the season above 500 for the first time in a long time. Yeah. They win over Georgia Tech 35-27 after a lightning delay put them out of action for about 30 minutes or so. Weird game, very physical game. Diego Pavia, I think you told me this during the break, broke a record for the Birmingham Bowl. 5 touchdowns from him.
For Vanderbilt, that is. Yeah.
Oh, for
a Vanderbilt record of putting 5 touchdowns in a bowl game.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
okay.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And he's back next year.
He is. Pavia back to work with Vandy for 2025.
With that being said, what's the ceiling for Vanderbilt next year?
Well, after listening to a clip in the break, Pavia is basically saying they're 1 or 2 pieces away from being a national championship winning team. I mean, hey, that's good optimism to have as a quarterback for a team that beat the number 1 team in the nation, coming pretty close to beating Texas. I mean, I will say, I think he does bring this Vanderbilt, I call it, again, college football teams now, or to me, are organizations. I think he brings this college football organization into a new opportunity, a new window. Obviously, now the cards are being put on the table and what he can do with Jerry Kill and stuff like that. So it's a little bit hesitant for me when it comes to, what he can do next year in 2025.
Here's the thing about Diego Pavia. Great player, dynamic player. But if he plays a team that knows how to defend him and knows how to put a spy on him or get in front of him, he's pretty ineffective. Look at teams like Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Tennessee figured him out. Once you figure him out, Vanderbilt's offense is basically immobile.
And that's what I'm worried about, because with Jerry Kill, excuse me, my voice, stadium pulse, as an OC, you got to worry if he's already played too much of his cards. Because we all have seen, and I mentioned this too at the early part of the year, against Virginia Tech, against obviously Texas and Alabama, they tried to spread the ball wide, which caused them to be pretty close to first down markers every single other time. And then that led to more of, get the first down, chew clock. It became almost not a boring product, but it became an intriguing product if you're a Vandy fan. So I'm hoping they can kind of open the floodgates a little bit more, throw stuff more and play action over the top, but that's just not how their offense runs. So maybe there is something that we just don't see that Vandy's kind of keeping on the back side of the burner, or back burner, that is.
I can see a world where they underachieve.
Mm-hmm.
I can see, look, you beat the number 1 team in the nation. That's awesome. That's history. I don't think that'll ever happen again. On that level, that is never going to happen again. D-May says this all the time. He puts it in an NFL perspective, but I'm going to put it in a college football perspective. You had a great season. Great season. You're a great quarterback, and you're coming back. But guess what? Everyone in the SEC, everyone in the nation, everyone you play has film on you.
Mm-hmm.
They know what you're capable of. They know your weaknesses. They know your strengths. If you get a team like Tennessee, or who else was it South Carolina?
Yes, they played South Carolina.
South Carolina.
They play them next year on their schedule as well.
Yeah. Well, they play everyone this year because the schedule flips. But if you play a team like that knows Diego Pavia and knows how to stop him and can put a guy in front of him, I think you're going to have a tough time beating him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say on the other side, you got an absolute baller in CJ Taylor, who's, I think he's an NFL caliber player. Maybe not first round material, but I think he's a good 3rd round pick right now, if you were to ask me. But how do you build on that? How do you build off of that? And I think Clark Lee does a good job of building this roster.
Right. I think they've utilized the NIL and the portal well.
Yeah.
And I think that in a roundabout way, even though Vanderbilt is looked at as like the little brother in the SEC when it comes to football, I think they've kind of got a step ahead of a lot of other teams when it comes to the NIL and the transfer portal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And now some people probably think, well, what about Tennessee or what about Alabama, LSU? Yeah, those are schools that are obviously going to be
They're bigger markets.
year in and year out, bigger market teams that are going to be putting out more money for players. But as for Vanderbilt, they've exceeded expectations in some regard, and they've actually opened up opportunities to get more players in the NIL and transfer portal. So that's how I'm looking at it. I think Vandy has set themselves up, and I think what Clark Lee has done here at Vanderbilt, he's done a really good job. I think there's more to be said for this Vanderbilt team next year. I think that this could be an 8-win, 9-win team if you have the same product that you had this year.
If I would say you'd have to build off that product.
Yeah,
you'd have to be better to go 8-4, 9-3. I will say this from a recruiting standpoint: if you are a local product in the Middle Tennessee area and you would like to stay in this city, in this place, I think Vanderbilt is probably the place for you to go.
Yeah.
I say that as someone who goes to Middle Tennessee, and I love what they're building down there. They're building something great. But if you want SEC competition and you want a bigger spotlight on you and you want to win, I think Clark Lee has a recipe to winning. And I think that's the place for you.
I mean, listen, if I was a football player and I was listening to you, if you were part of any staff, I'd probably say, yeah.
I'm not trying to sell the program to you, but I'm just saying that's my opinion on.
You're selling me the program, and I love it. I mean, I'm all about the big golden V because these guys have been pretty solid. It looks like we have a caller.
Yeah, we do have a caller on our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Trey in Hermitage is on our phone lines. Trey, what's up?
Hey, how y'all doing this morning, guys?
Doing well.
Hey, I just wanted to get y'all opinion about, if they keep Mason, the Tennessee Titans keep Mason Rudolph and play through him. He knows the system rather than going out, trying to find a quarterback. And the most recent ones that's on the market is injury prone. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should shore up, the other, mishaps we have in the offensive line, try to get a couple more, cornerbacks, a decent safety, linebacker. What do y'all think about that? Do you think we should just jump in the boat and try to get a quarterback or, roll with Mason and cut Levis? And y'all give me y'all opinion. Y'all have a good morning, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Trey. Happy New Year to you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess to Trey's call there,
bit of a swerve from Vanderbilt football, but
bit of a swerve.
We'll roll with it. I don't think they outright cut Levis. I don't. I think Trevor Maddich has said this before. I think Will Levis competes for the starting job next year. I'm not going to say he wins it, but I think he competes for it. I think Mason Rudolph's gone. I don't think he's going to take a pay cut to be a starting quarterback when he can go somewhere else and be the backup and make more money. I don't. Now, do they go to the draft and grab a quarterback? I don't think so. Unless it's Shedeur Sanders, I would not draft a quarterback. I would address more positional needs, like you need a right tackle, for instance. I would address your defensive line. You need someone to hit the quarterback, since clearly the people you've drafted won't do that. Tavondre Sweat, I get. He's a run stuffer. But to Jared's point, I don't think you draft a run stuffer at 38. Jeffrey Simmons is not going to hit the quarterback and then make an excuse about, we can still compete for the division, even though we've won 3 games. But I don't know. I feel like you address that need. I feel like you address the right tackle situation, whether it be in draft or free agency or whatever. I think as far as quarterback goes, you bring in a guy that could be your bridge quarterback, but that can also compete with Will Levis for the starting job, like a Derek Carr, like a Daniel Jones, Jameis Winston. I think Sam Darnold is off the market. I think someone, maybe not Minnesota, because that would negate their J.J. McCarthy draft pick, but someone is going to give that guy big money.
I got an idea of who the Titans should probably use or get as a stopgap QB. I mean, I have a short list, that is. probably like 2 or 3
Well,
quarterback.
let's do that next segment. Nick
Okay.
Frazier's got a plan for the Tennessee Titans at quarterback. That's up next. Not Stillman and Company, 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Force Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, taking you through all the small things. See what I did there? Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Jake Wallman behind the 1s and 2s. And, Trey, our caller we just had in the last segment, brought up an interesting point about moving on from players on the Tennessee Titans. And I kind of thought of this question during the break, and I was like, Trey might be onto something. If the Titans had the promising young prospects like the Houston Texans or even the Washington Commanders, the Texans have obviously CJ Stroud at quarterback, who's going through a bit of a sophomore slump, but still has a bright future in this league. And then to set him up, you have Nico Collins at wide receiver, Tank Dell, guys like that. On the other side, Will Anderson, guys like that. The Commanders have Jaden Daniels at quarterback. Solid receivers for him to throw to, Terry McLaurin, Austin Eckler in the backfield. And then on the other side, you have solid pieces as well. The Titans don't have that. There's not one guy on this team I can look at as a young prospect and be like, that's the guy. What did the two teams I just listed have in common as their number one prospect? A quarterback. The guy. So if the Titans had that guy, we'll say, how much better would you feel about the direction of this franchise? Do you think it would be easier to turn this ship around?
Yeah, I think it would. I honestly think if you had a quarterback that was large and in charge and you still came out with the same result, you'd still feel confident in the future of the franchise. Whereas for Will Levis, the way he's handled his whole situation, obviously hurt his shoulder, the AC joint, whatever you want to call it.
I'm not a fan of his attitude. I'll say that.
I've mentioned this multiple times. I mentioned it on Monday when we were on for Stillman and Company. If you wear a Captain C on your jersey and you don't act like a true teacher and leader towards others on your team, that shows outside the locker room towards the fans, because that's who you're really kind of playing towards is the fans, because those are the people that come to watch you play. If you're not being a leader towards them, you're not a NFL the guy.
Is there a captain on this roster you feel is shown they are a captain? Will Levis, I feel like it was not ready to be a captain to begin with.
Right.
Much less a starting quarterback in the NFL. Jeffrey Simmons, I feel, has exuded some non-captain-like behavior.
Right.
Going after media on occasion. And then you go back and watch his scrums after every game. It's always, we'll turn this around, which is the Titan way. There's always a bright side with the Titans, but I'd have to look at who the other two are. Yeah. Lloyd Cushenberry, I think, is one.
He is. Kenneth Murray's the other one.
Kenneth Murray, I feel, has been very, very solid.
And then your special teams one is Morgan Cox.
Of course.
So, I mean, you have those five. I understand that. I guess a better way to put it is they all look that they play the part as captains. They all play the part.
Yeah.
All right. But it doesn't really resonate to me as a outsider looking in, as I'll say as a fan, that those guys are captains. Maybe Jeffrey Simmons. I think, and I will say, I think Brian Callahan mentioned something about Jeffrey Simmons' leadership in the last couple of weeks, that he's kind of been better at that. I honestly think that he has been to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously earlier in the year, he had the big, outlashing and so forth, but I do think he's kind of come on into his feet in the last couple of weeks. Kenneth Murray, obviously on the injured reserve the rest of the season for the most part. They signed David.
He's been the surprise of the season for me.
Yeah. I think surprise is a better way to put it.
I think he has been exactly what you signed him to be. More than what you signed him to be. Exactly what you wanted him to be for your linebacker position.
Mm-hmm.
Losing Azeez Al-Shaair, who's all of a sudden become a felon for some reason.
Yeah,
that dude's crazy. Insane. But anyways, he has become exactly what you expect him to be and what you were hoping he would be in signing him. Just a solid pass rushing linebacker who can drop back in coverage on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's been a tackle machine. I think he's going to be great. He's on a 1-year deal, if I'm not mistaken, too. So that's at the top of your checklist if you're the Tennessee Titans. I'd bring back Kenneth Murray. The other thing, going back to the original conversation, where's the guy at quarterback?
Yeah.
You said you had a plan for the Titans.
I have a short list. I'd say it's about 2 to 3 players, one of them including in the draft. I was really sold on a comment somebody made a few weeks back when Jake and TD were hosting together in the afternoon. I'll start out with the draft pick and then go forth with everything else.
Okay.
I think Dylan Gabriel is somebody to kind of look at. I mean, I was kind of watching some of his tape on YouTube and just comparing him to other guys in this draft class, and his release is super quick out of the pocket. Obviously, the Titans with their offensive line, you really don't know what you're going to get out of them week in and week out. You kind of need a quarterback to get it quick, know where he's going to be decisive when he is throwing the ball, get it out of your hands fast.
Interesting.
So that's kind of where I'm at on that. That's kind of one of the main qualities that I've kind of looked at for the Titans' sake. And then as for, I don't know, I think there's obviously a lot of upside with Dylan Gabriel. He, like you said, he reminds me of a Bo Nix.
Okay.
And I kind of like that. I like that comparison because Bo Nix, I think in the right system, which he is in the right system.
Didn't I?
You did say that. And
I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, like, I think with Bo Nix being in the right system with Sean Payton, he's panned out to be a really good quarterback. I think if Jaden Daniels didn't have that illustrious game and that just crazy Hail Mary against Chicago, I think Bo Nix is in a closer conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year than people think because he's been really good for Denver this year. And I think Dylan Gabriel can replicate that if the Titans can solidify their offensive line this offseason. Maybe it's in the draft or maybe it's in free agency.
That's a late round pick too.
Yeah.
That is a guy you could get in the late round.
My whole plan of this, and I'll continue with this draft pick, is if the Titans were to trade out of their top 4, top 3 pick and acquire more picks, and somehow, some way you're able to get Dylan Gabriel in the later rounds, that might not be a bad option because you're still getting solid players in the early first round, acquiring picks for later on in the draft, and possibly in the following draft in 2026.
My thing with Dylan Gabriel, I've said this to you before, I think he's a really, really solid college quarterback. I think he's a championship level college quarterback. I think he's a finished product. I think if you were to bring him into the NFL, he wouldn't have the same success he has in college based on the system. I think Bo Nix is an outlier. I think bringing Bo Nix in, Bo Nix had some potential. Whether we can say he didn't, but he did. Obviously, he did. Look at him now. He's in the right system with the right pieces around him. He's having a year. But I think he was more of an NFL prospect than Dylan Gabriel is.
Interesting. See, I think opposite. When I saw Bo Nix come into the NFL, I thought he was already a finished product when he was done at Auburn. Because when he transferred to Oregon, I was like, this just doesn't make sense to me. I guess I looked at it as when there's a quarterback that's like above average that ends up going out west to a team like Oregon or Oregon State in the Pac-12 at the time, I look at it as, oh, well, they're in high-octane offenses. They'll be able to throw the ball a lot. They'll be able to – yeah, the West Coast. Thank you. Sorry about that. And it just, to me, made me think he's just patting his stats to make him look good to go into the draft.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I looked at Bo Nix. But he's developed into be a really good quarterback in the NFL. And that's kind of how I'm looking at Dylan Gabriel. A lot of these teams that are out west, like Oregon, I think he may be a finished product, but I'd rather have maybe a finished product in college and going into the NFL than an unfinished product in college going into the NFL because they have a hard time adjusting maybe.
I feel like he's a system quarterback, kind of like you mentioned. I don't think he's a generational prospect. We use the term generational way too loosely these days, but I don't think he's just a magnificent prospect that is going to carry your franchise for the rest of time. That saying, you do have a point. If you could get him in the late rounds, I would not be opposed to seeing him in two-tone blue, maybe compete for a job here. I wouldn't sell my soul to get him, but I could see a world where, maybe there's a little bit of intrigue in the late 5, 6, 7 rounds.
Right. And my other two options, this is outside the draft. This is in free agency. I mean, this is a fairy tale option, but Matt Stafford would be a pretty cool fit for the Titans.
That'd be pretty cool.
Obviously not going to happen, but I think that's somebody you got to at least look at on your list. He has 2 years left remaining on his deal with the Rams. Probably going to retire after all that because he's already got a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The other guy that I'm not sold on completely, but I'm leaning that way.
Don't you say Aaron Rodgers?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good.
Cooper Rush. He's an unrestricted free agent after this year. He's played really well the last couple of games for the Dallas Cowboys. And with what he has to offer, like he's only got basically CeeDee Lamb and maybe 1 or 2 other guys. That's about it. He's done pretty good for himself. I mean, if you look at his stats, they're almost I'd say not identical to Dak's, but maybe even better in some regard. So I think Cooper Rush is a solid option. I believe on Over the Cap, his estimated offseason value would be $5 million. That is for if it's, I guess, a multi-year deal for this some regard. So it's, average for 2 years. So that'd be 2.5 million. So I'd be okay with something like that.
Yeah. It wouldn't be, I don't think any of these guys would be your long-term investment at quarterback.
No, and that's
I don't think that's your point.
No.
I think this is the guy before the guy.
If you want to get this franchise back on the right step in the right direction, you have to get a stopgap quarterback.
Yeah.
You have to.
No, I agree with you.
Because if you don't, then you're just basically throwing, I'm going to use darts for this example. You're throwing darts at a dartboard while your eyes are closed. That's all you're doing because you're just taking chances on quarterbacks that you don't know of.
I mean, they've been doing this since, Steve McNair.
Yeah, you're practically right.
Yeah.
They lucked out with Ryan Tannehill, but you're right. They've just been throwing darts at a dartboard blindfolded.
Yeah. I mean, I think they had something in Mariota and then he broke his leg and then he was never the same after
Thank you for bringing up Mariota. I know we got to go to a break, but thank you for bringing up Mariota because with Marcus, he had multiple OCs on those Titans teams.
Yeah.
Look at Dylan Gabriel. He's been through 4 or 5 different systems in different colleges. There's a similarity there, but yet Dylan Gabriel's still showing that he can play at a high level in all those different scenarios. So which leads me to think the guy retains the knowledge. The guy retains a lot of good, qualities when it comes to stuff like that. And he's probably developed a lot of qualities at these 5 different stops in his career in college. So which leads me to think a little bit more leaning towards Dylan Gabriel when it comes to a late round pick in the draft for the Titans.
Yeah. One thing is for sure. Dylan Gabriel would thrive in a Connor Newt offense.
Yes, he would.
Yes, he would. Let's pick some college football playoff games, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Coming up next on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. The final segment, as we say. It's time for weekend picks. I got 4 games for you, all in the college football playoff. They won't happen until Tuesday, Wednesday, so we'll be back on the air before these happen, but figured we'd get these done now. Let's start with Penn State versus Boise State. Penn State currently favored by 11. Nick Frazier, where are we going?
I think the Nittany Lions get it done, but they do not cover.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be a close game. That's why I was talking earlier about the committee and if it'd be an embarrassment of some regard. Nah, I think Boise State covers. I think this game is a maybe a field goal or 7-point.
Ooh. Okay. A bit of a bold take for taking the favor.
Yeah, I know.
Huh.
But yeah, the Nittany Lions get it done, though.
Interesting. Jake Wallman, Penn State or Boise State?
Boise State has a history of taking down Giants.
Oh, he's going there.
I'm gonna be the guy that picks the Cinderella. Give me
He's
Boise
going there.
State.
He's going there. Oh, wow. We are split.
Wow.
Boise State taken by Jake Wallman. I'm going to break this. I think Penn State wins pretty handedly. I think they cover with flying colors. And I think James Franklin finds himself in the semifinals against who would he play?
Notre Dame or Georgia.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't have the bracket in front of me, so I'm
You're good.
blank. So 2 on Penn State, 1 on Boise State. Let's move on. Texas versus Arizona State. Texas favored by 13.5. Nick Frazier.
This might get ugly.
Yeah.
This is the game where it's an embarrassment right here.
Yeah.
I'd say it's going to be about a 42-21 game. Texas.
Arizona State.
No,
Texas. Texas. Yeah. I'm with you. I think Texas kind of takes them down with 21-24. Not 21-24. By 21 or 24 points.
As much as everybody loves Cam Scatterbo, as he's been a fan favorite for everyone, it's just
I do think that Quinn Ewers throws for an interception. I think that's a given. I think that's guaranteed. But I think he throws for 3 touchdowns.
wow.
I think he has himself.
Arch get a little action?
Arch maybe a little bit of a rushing touchdown. If
Okay.
things get ugly. I think it's going to get rough for the Sun Devils. It's a good story, but I think it gets rough. I think it ends here. Jake Wallman, I'm sorry. I should have let you go next.
No, you're good.
I forgot.
What was the game?
It's
One more time.
Texas, Arizona State. I know you're busy back there.
No, you're good. I like Cam Scatterbo, but I don't know if Arizona State can match what Texas is bringing. Give me Texas.
All right. Clean sweep on the Longhorns. The big one up next. The game I consider to be whoever wins is in the national title. Ohio State and Oregon. Ohio State actually favored by 2.5. Nick Frazier.
Oh, Mr. Carl, don't hurt me. I got some friends that are big Ohio State fans. I'm going Oregon.
Yes.
I think Oregon wins by more than 3 points, though.
Really?
Yeah, I'm thinking 6 points.
Wow.
Not a different of a margin, but still 2 field goals.
Yeah. I'm wearing the hat. I'll show the camera right now. There's the hat right there. I think the Ducks win. I think they win by 10.
Save the Ducks.
Save the Ducks. I think Ohio State is good. I think Oregon is just playing for more. Ryan Day, I think, has secured his job for next season after winning a playoff game at home pretty handedly against Tennessee. I think he's back next year, but I think Land Danning wants this one more than Ryan Day. Give me the Ducks by 10. Jake Wallman, Ducks or Bucks?
I think the Ducks are the most complete team left in the field. And I'm not saying this because, Ohio State beat Tennessee or whatever. I really like Dan Lanning, and I really like Dylan Gabriel as a quarterback. Give me Oregon.
Okay.
Clean sweep on the Ducks. The last game, Notre Dame versus Georgia. UGA currently favored by 2. Nick Frazier, where do we stand?
I'm saying Georgia wins by a field goal. I'm still sticking to my guns with Georgia. So, yep, that's it.
Georgia wins by a field goal. Jake Wallman.
I mean, we talked about it earlier. I question Notre Dame's ability to win a big game like this. So, yeah, I like Nick Frazier. I think it's close, but give me the Dogs.
I'm doing it. Notre Dame Irish get it done. I've been saying it all show. I think they get it done. This game's won in the trenches, and I think they have the edge at running back. Jeremiah Love, How about 2 rushing touchdowns?
Oh,
I think it happens.
okay.
I think you'll see the Irish and the Nittany Lions in the semifinal, and then you'd have the Ohio State or Oregon Ducks and Texas Longhorns on the other side. Pretty good field, if you ask me. That'll do it for us here on 4's Company, but stay tuned. Boston College and Miami and the Pinstripe Bowl is next. We will be with you Tuesday from 7:30 or 7 a.m. to 10:30 on New Year's Eve. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. We will see you later. Thank you very much.
Peace.